everyone, welcome back to the OCheap channel, the channel dedicated to all things cheap in the world of fragrances. In today's video, we're going to quickly go through a very short line of fragrances from a certain house that I have a lot of other videos on, and they're a favorite company, especially among cheapy collectors, because they usually have very good quality and very easy to love and easy to wear fragrances for a really good price. You see them all over at rack stores, not even so much online. The best place to get them are at rack stores like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Burlington, and they are all over the place. You really can't go into any of the stores without seeing a lot of their products for both men and women out on the shelves. And the company we're talking about is Abercrombie Fitch, and the line we're going to look at today is from a very particular line that doesn't have a whole lot of releases. In fact, there are only 3 here as of now when I'm shooting this in the year of 2025, and I think the last one came out in 2023, and it's from their line called the Away line. So you have this one called Away, then you have one called Away Tonight, and the last one is Away Weekend. So let's start off looking at the first one here, which is the original Away, and you get to also see the bottle design on these, which is actually very unique in particular. They all have this little lever on the top which clicks down and up, unlocking or locking the built-in atomizer, and it's actually a very tactile kind of fidget. I do really enjoy it, and it's very satisfying to click and unclick it. And this is a feature both on the men and women's side of the line, making it kind of a signature of this line, and kind of something I wish that a lot of other companies that have built-in atomizers would do as well. But let's go ahead and jump into talking about these, starting off again with the first one here, the original Away. And I want to go ahead and give you the note breakdown so then I can go into the wearing experience and what you can expect out of these fragrances. Starting off with the top notes, you have our violet, grapefruit, and pineapple. The middle notes are geranium, ginger, and pepper, and the base notes are woody notes, vetiver, and sandalwood. And even though that note breakdown is a little generic and it kind of doesn't tell you a whole lot about it, the actual smelling experience of this will definitely tell you what this is all about. So what you're gonna get out of this fragrance is something that is very citric dominant on the top, with a lot of that grapefruit note, a little rindy, a little bit of a fruity sweetness right behind it, but it's not really anything that is noticeable. Like, you can't really point at it and say, oh, it's definitely pineapple. It's just a generic fruity sweetness, a lot of musk, and I would even go so far to say there's a little bit of an aldehydic quality in here. And as it starts drying down, you do get a lot more spices. A little bit of that ginger and that pepper definitely contribute to that, and a little bit of a floral aspect. I know there is geranium in there, but it is just a little bit of a white floral, overall floral kind of aspect. Very clean, making it a little more fresh and inviting. And as it dries down, you get a lot more of that generic white muskiness and a lot of woodiness in here, with a little bit of a powdery aspect to it. Overall, what this smells very similar to is YSL's Y EDT, maybe a little bit of the EDP, but I think it leans more of the fresh aldehydic side of the original EDT. It's very wearable, very easy and light, very fresh, and I think it has a little more of a almost watery ozonic freshness than what the original Y has itself. And as far as performance, it's going to be definitely under average, with a nice medium loud projection for that first little bit of the fragrance, but it's probably not going to last any more like that 4 to 5 hour mark, and then it's going to be a very low skin scent. But then again, it is a freshie, and it's meant to be something that's very light, bright, and airy for that first little bit while you're wearing it. It is a very good alternative and clone to YSL Y. It's not going to have that dominant apple note or sweetness that the original, or especially the EDP, has. It's more of a citric, fresher, like I said, aldehydic, musky version of that, but it still is really solid, very nice, and definitely something that not a lot of people are going to think of going to when they think of YSL Y alternatives, but it's one that is actually, I think, fairly close and a good twist on that profile. And of course, with that kind of DNA, it's going to be something that's more suited for the spring, summertime, especially the high heat of summer. It's very uplifting, very easy to wear, light and fresh, easy to wear for casual, formal day or night, especially in office wear. I think it's very clean, very easy to wear, and easy to like and pull off. And it's not going to be overperforming as long as you don't spray too much on, but one that is a compliment puller, just like how the Y profile is itself. But a solid start to the lineup, and one that's going to be the easier to wear out of all the ones here, aside from the last one. But yeah, really love this one. Very enjoyable. Going to be the easiest one, but probably not the most interesting out of all the ones we have here. But it's, again, a really good start. Is the first one here, Away. Now onto the second one, and this is gonna be the one that's probably gonna be the most niche profile out of all the ones here, not just as far as quality, but definitely as far as the profile itself, that maybe not everyone will like to wear this, but for those who are really into fragrances, who want something that's more interesting and way off the beaten path, this is the one to go with. It is the next one in the Away line. It is Away Tonight. So as you can see, the bottle design has changed to fit the name. It is a darker colored bottle and atomizer with almost a gunmetal kind of style finish, and I really like it. Probably my favorite look out of all the ones here, but this is one that, just like the name says, is a darker take out of the whole line here, especially from the original one. Just like how the first one was a lighter, brighter, fresher profile, this is going to be one that is the darker reflection of that, the one for the nighttime, the one for when the sun goes down and things get a little more serious and mature and maybe a little more mysterious. Let's go ahead and get into that note breakdown real quick so you can get an idea of how this one is going to smell. On the top notes here, you have pink pepper, pink grapefruit, and bergamot. In the middle notes are vetiver, geranium, and carrot, which is a very interesting note. Base notes are sandalwood, patchouli, and cedar. So how this one's going to come across, just like how the note breakdown says, it pops off with a very spicy, peppery, very citric, but not really too bright or too sweet. It's a very sharp style of citrus, like along with that spiciness. And then right behind that, you get a lot from that mid note of vetiver, making this actually a very vetiver and woody centric fragrance. And as it dries down, you get a little bit of maybe that carrot note. It's very interesting, but you can smell something different in there, but a lot more of that sandalwood, patchouli, and cedar in the base, making this a very much more a base heavy fragrance. Overall, what this one smells like to me is something that is sharp on the top, a little citric, very earthy, and very woody, with a noticeable note, again, of that vetiver, patchouli, and woods in the base. This is one that's gonna have a lot of similarities to another fragrance, especially when you consider that top note with a lot of that spicy pepper and that citrus and grapefruit. It's going to be very similar to Terre d'Hermès by Hermès, and actually as it dries down, it even develops into another style of vetiver fragrance, which is Encre Noire. And I've always said that this is a Franken fragrance. If you can imagine Terre d'Hermès mixed with Lalique's Encre Noire, you have this right here. And it's not so much in the style of vetiver that Terre d'Hermès uses, because they have something that is Terre d'Hermès Eau Intense vetiver, and it's not that same style. It's actually more of the Lalique's Encre Noire style of vetiver, with that very, like I said, damp, earthy style, not really the aromatic, grassy style that Terre d'Hermès uses. So you have a top in here that starts off being like Terre d'Hermès, and as it dries down, it becomes Encre Noire, being darker, again, more woody and patchouli forward. Very, very different and a far cry from the original one, and even the flanker that comes after this one. It's very different from anything else in this lineup, and really different from anything else that Abercrombie Fitch would put out in any of their other lines. This is definitely more for the niche fragrance enjoyer, because it's going to be one that not everyone's going to gravitate to, but for those who do like very vetiver, woody, dark fragrances, this is the one to go with. And a lot of people will even argue that this is something that you don't have to wear even at nighttime, that you can even wear this in the daytime as well, because of that citrus and spice. It has a little bit of a freshness on the top, but as it dries down, it doesn't get as bad as even the Encre Noire line, but it still is approaching almost to that line. And performance on this is something that is actually pretty good, probably right on average, within 5-6 hours of longevity and a nice hour of projection overall. Very medium overall projection. So yeah, pretty much right dead in the middle where it should be. And it's one that, again, that's going to be probably more suited for the nighttime of spring, summer, fall, maybe even winter as well. Almost year-round usability. And even in the daytime, in those cooler months, you could probably pull this off as well. But I think it very much is fitting to the name where it says Away Tonight. This is a nighttime version of everything that is here, especially from the original. One that is a little bit different. Again, it has that carrot note in there, and whether you think you can smell it or not, it definitely has an interesting middle and just overall profile to it than anything else that you're going to be smelling, even out and about in the world. But yeah, Terre d'Hermès mixed with Encre Noire is definitely a combo that I did not expect from any company, much less Abercrombie Fitch, but this is a very welcome flanker in this line and from them in general. Really do enjoy this one. Very different, very unique. Probably going to be not so much for a younger crowd, probably for more of the mature, classy, gentleman side, for those, again, who might enjoy the more darker side of fragrances. This is a great one to go with, and it's very, very inexpensive, even more so than Encre Noir by Lalique, even though that one used to be a lot cheaper way back in the day. This is one you can even find, like I said at the beginning, at rack stores, so even more better availability than that as well. Very interesting, not going to be for everybody, but definitely one I think deserves recognition and to be talked about more often. It has its fans and it has its support, and I think it should keep that as well. Very interesting, really do like this one. Again, the darker night version of this line here. It is Away Tonight. Now on to the third and last one in this list, at least as I'm shooting this now, in 2025, and this one came out in 2023, so it might be safe to say that this is going to be the end of the Away line. This is one that is also not really seen that much at rack stores, at least not as far as when I've been able to find it, even though ever since I bought this one, I've been seeing it pop up ever so more often than I did before. But this is one that you still can find out and about, and again, for a really good price. And this is the one that's going to be more of the higher end quality, even though the second one was more of a niche style. This is definitely one that has a higher quality to it. It is this one here, which is the last one, Away Weekend. So this is one that's actually been perfumed by perfumer Claude Durr, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who is also the perfumer who's done all of World of Zaharoff by George Zaharoff, all of his fragrances. So I'm very well acquainted with his style of perfumery and his personality, and it definitely shines through with this fragrance here. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the note breakdown real quick, and then we'll talk about how it wears. The top notes you have on here are apple, bergamot, clementine, and cardamom. Middle notes are lavender, clary sage, cypress, and rosemary, and the base notes are atlas cedar, patchouli, and cacao. So immediately when you spray this fragrance on, what you're going to get is a lot of sweet fruitiness, a lot of powdery nature in here as well, a lot of florals, especially with that lavender, which is very, very noticeable, giving it almost a little bit of a older gentleman style, but with a lot more of a youthful, modern sweetness to it. This is definitely the sweeter one out of all the ones here in the line. And as it dries down in that mid, you're going to get a lot more aromatics, a little herbaceousness in here. There is rosemary and clary sage, and it still stays along with that sweetness from the fruitiness and that sweet muskiness as well, but you do notice those aromatics more as it dries down, and as it gets even more into the dry down, you get a little bit of that patchouli, but more of just a powdery base woodiness with a little bit of an ambery feel as well. But all the way through and through, you're going to get a lot of sweet powdery nature covering everything all the way through. A lot of people say that this is actually similar to Zaharoff's Signature Citrine, which is another fragrance that Claude Durr perfumed, but I'll just actually finished a sample of that fragrance, and I will say that it is nowhere near this. That's a lot more green, musky citrus. This is a lot sweeter than that, has a lot more of a fruity nuance to it, and a lot more of an aromatic as well. It's about the same kind of muskiness, but it definitely is nowhere near as sharp citric as that. But this does have a similar personality as that one. I think that if this had higher quality ingredients and was released under Zaharoff's name, that it actually would be a very suitable flanker in his line. But like I said, this is going to be the better blend, better quality, kind of like I said, the more detailed one out of all the ones here, the more complex and more of a nuance to it as well as it dries down from the top, middle, and base. But very nice, very easy to wear. This one's going to be probably year-round usability, especially in spring, summer, maybe a little bit in the warmer side of fall, day or nighttime. And not really one that just fits on young or mature. I think it actually spans any age group, whether you're 18, 25, 35, or even 50. I think it would fit perfectly. So if you're a younger guy who wants a more classy, aromatic, woody lavender fragrance, this is great to go for. And if you're an older guy who wants a more sweet, modern, fruity take on an old masculine fragrance, this is a great one to go with as well. I think it really does do a good job of bridging the gaps between there. And as far as performance, I will say this is probably right along with everything else here. Not the best performing, probably right at average or a little under. And again, it depends on how you wear it, if it's out in the heat, if you're working too much, or if you're in the AC and not really moving a whole lot. It will definitely last longer on you. And again, that also depends on the skin chemistry and just how it works on you in general. But yeah, overall, this is probably right under average, like maybe 4 to 5 hours longevity with a nice medium, almost medium loud projection for majority of the fragrance. You can wear this every day, casual, formal, office wear even, or out and about on a date or hanging out with friends or whatever. It has a very nice usability to it, almost like a blue style fragrance without being that. It just makes it a very actually signature worthy fragrance. Maybe a little bit of a tropical summer factor to it to some people, but I think it works out for really any of the seasons between spring and fall. Really love this. I think it's definitely one that anyone out there who loves Abercrombie Fitch and wants something that's from a very good perfumer, they definitely should pick this one up. It's absolutely amazing. Again, great quality, complexity, and this overall smells very enjoyable and easy to wear. But again, as of now, this is the last one in this lineup, and it is this one here, Away Weekend. And there you guys, the 3 releases in the Away line by Abercrombie Fitch. And again, it is a very short line. Maybe they'll add more to it, and maybe they won't, because like I said, the last one did come out 2 years ago, so maybe they have cut that line off. But if they have, these are the ones that you can be out there looking for and expecting to find. And hopefully this video has helped you with wanting to know whether you should buy this or not. Maybe you've seen it out and about, but you didn't really know what to think about it or whether it was convincing enough to get. Hopefully this video will inform your decision and help you out better. But all of these really cover almost anything for all year round, you know, something for easily daytime and the hot weather, something that is almost versatile for any other season, you know, even nighttime, and one that covers even the cooler months, and something that is a lot more interesting as well. I really enjoy these. They're ones that I try to keep on a wear pretty regularly, even among everything else that I have, because I usually forget about them, but when I pick them up and I spray them on, I always forget how great they actually are. Even though they have similarities to other fragrances, I don't mind wearing them on their own because they really are just that good. And like I said, a nice Abercrombie Fitch designer twist on those profiles. But yeah, if you have these, or if you've had them at one point, or you're looking to get them, let me know what you think about them in the comments below. What other fragrances from Abercrombie Fitch would you like me to cover and review as well? Maybe I can try to get the whole line, or if it's just a single fragrance, I can try to get it myself and review it and see what I think about it. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video and you like what you've seen here and it's helped you, please consider giving the video a like and a thumbs up. Let me know to keep making these line reviews, even if there are very short lines that maybe there's still something that you would want to see, that it is helping you and informing you on your fragrance buying decisions. And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to this channel, but you do like what you've seen here or what you've seen elsewhere on the channel, I encourage you to please consider supporting this channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can see all the other things that I'm working on in the background to bring out to you guys for you to watch and enjoy. I'd love for you to be right along with me on this cheap and inexpensive fragrance journey. And hey, maybe I can even help you discover something new along the way. And as always, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Again, thank you for being here and for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And as always, I will see all of you again in the next video. Be blessed.